Hey everybody, it's Bryan Barron from Paula's Choice Skincare. I am back with you on this Thursday, March 15th for another live chat. I'm going to say something here. Can you hear me? Just making sure. It's been a little while since I've done this. I've been away, not away from work, just away from live chats. And I know that Paula has done a few live chats, both on our Facebook page and on this YouTube channel. And I know you all love you some Paula. I do too. I've been working with the woman for 18 years. She is a continuing source of inspiration and fascination and sometimes consternation. She would laugh if I said that because she knows it's true, and the feeling is mutual. Let's see, everyone can hear me. Okay, good, excellent. Hello. So yeah, I'm loving the fact that Paula is doing more of these chats as well. So we're kind of like toggling back and forth, handling your questions, helping you see the truth and beauty, helping you have better skin, hopefully the best skin of your life. Hopefully that's with Paula's Choice products, but you know us, we will tell you about other products, we'll tell you about other ingredients. If we don't know, we'll find out. So I didn't necessarily have a theme in mind today. If you guys have some stuff you want to riff on in terms of a skincare theme, let me know. Got my mint and licorice tea going on. And if I look a little exhausted or dehydrated, I am. I've still been dealing with this ear issue back and forth, and I think we finally kind of got it zoned in, but I had to go back on that medication called prednisone, which is an oral steroid, and one of the not so fun side effects of it, it works, and when it works, it's great, but one of the not so fun side effects is that it can kind of put you in this state of feeling wired and exhausted at the same time. And it's very strange because I can't necessarily say it's been messing with my sleep too much, but you get to the middle point of the day and it's just like, oh, you feel like you're about ready to burn out. But then I knew I had this chat coming up with all of you, and I'm like, I really want to do this. I've been looking forward to it. I missed you guys. So let's get down to it. And again, forgive if I look peaked or tired. It's not because of you. So we'll get right into this. Chrissy 2B Lovely says, how long can I safely use hydroquinone, and can I start reusing again after a break? I've read, let me start this way. When you are using an over-the-counter product, or a prescription product for that matter, that has a higher amount of hydroquinone, over-the-counter it's capped at 2%, but when you are using either one, as long as you're using it as directed, there really isn't like, oh, you can't use it past this period of time, like 6 months, or this is going to happen. There's some disagreement among dermatologists and other skincare experts in terms of how long to use hydroquinone before you should give up on it, meaning how long do you use it and how long should you really give it to work before you start seeing results. I've seen anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks to 8 to 12 weeks. I think for most people, that 8 to 12 week period, which would be 2 to 3 months, is most realistic because those discolorations that hydroquinone can act on, they took a long time to form. They didn't happen overnight, at least not for most of us. It might seem like they popped up overnight, but they've been festering or brewing in the lower layers of skin with the cumulative sun damage and whatnot over the years, and they eventually make their way to the surface, and then we're upset. I have them too. And I've been using hydroquinone. I'm pausing because there isn't a slam dunk answer here. I haven't seen anything in the research indicating that at one point you should just stop using hydroquinone in the appropriate strengths, other than if it's been 3 months or longer and you're not seeing any resolution, any fading at all of the discoloration, then you should stop, because chances are at that point it's just not working for you. But even then, there's a bit of a corollary, because if you haven't been good about protecting your skin every day from UV light exposure, you can't reasonably expect the hydroquinone to do much good. if you're not stopping the source of the damage, the product you're using to treat the damage can't do its thing, at least not to its full capacity. So I often wonder how many people use hydroquinone and aren't necessarily so great about sun protection every day. And I know if you're not used to it, it takes it, you know, you gotta, it's a thing you got to apply, and you got to put it on liberally, and you got to reapply down the road if needed. If you're not doing that, then it's not really fair to blame the hydroquinone product for not working. It may have worked great. And so if that describes you, I would say, you know, try it again. You know, resolve to be better about the sunscreen every day. Try using an in-part mineral sunscreen. There's theoretical research and empirical evidence that that type of sunscreen tends to work better when the goal is to block further discolorations. The other thing to consider trying is combining a hydroquinone product with other brightening products, such as those that contain a higher amount of vitamin C or niacinamide. There is research showing that that combined approach really can produce stellar results, and because they act on the different pathways that cause skin to become dark and uneven. They each kind of go about their job in a different way, very much like certain antioxidants go about their job in different ways. Some antioxidants are better at taking down some types of damaging environmental influences. Some work better against another group. The more you have doing different jobs, the more protected your skin is going to be. Chrissy also says, any thoughts on the perfect derma peel? I'd have to look that one up, Chrissy. I'm not familiar with it off the top of my head. But I've yet to see an at-home peel, like a real strong peel, that I would describe as perfect. Let's see, Blubs. Florian from Germany wants to know what's the best beauty tool for home use with the Paula skincare, ultrasonic, ionotophoresis, radio frequency. Well, those all have benefits. They don't necessarily have a whole lot of cons to them. I mean, unless you're just deliberately misusing them. So obviously follow the directions on the device. The problem with a lot of those at-home devices is that for legal reasons, they cannot be as strong or as effective as the tools that a dermatologist, a medical professional, can access. So there's that temptation, especially with the light-emitting devices, light-emitting devices, or radio frequency, or the ultrasonic, which would be a heat-emitting device. I get the temptation to buy those devices and use them at home. It's a one-time cost. You've got the device. You can use it as often as you want, for as long as you want. No need to go to the doctor. But there are limitations to those devices, and I would not ever tell someone, with very few exceptions, such as for some blue and red light devices, that the results you can get from those types of devices at home are equivalent to what a dermatologist can do. The other thing is they typically don't have the ability to really dial things in and fine-tune to your specifications. They're just a bit more general purpose, and they have to be. Oh, M-Veg Potato. You are a loyal live chat viewer. And hello. This person, the M-Veg Potato, I know pitted acne scars are tough to get rid of. So how can we prevent them from occurring at all if you get the occasional cystic breakout, other than not popping them, of course? Right, popping. You can pop a pimple if you do so carefully, and we have instructions on how to do that. However, if it is a deeper in the skin, if it is actually a cystic type acne lesion, I wouldn't advise popping that. They just start so deep in the skin. That type of acne pretty much always needs a dermatologist's attention if your goal is to avoid scarring. Some people have success with over-the-counter products, but it isn't very common. Over-the-counter acne products tend to work best for mild to moderate, or even in some cases of stubborn acne, because you can have moderate acne, that mix of pimples and pustules and papules. Aren't those words just beautiful sounding? And they'll respond eventually to over-the-counter, consistent use of over-the-counter acne treatments. But the more severe type of acne that occurs deeper in the skin, that kind of gets to be that nodule, It can be hot to the touch. It can even just literally hurt. That's the purview of a dermatologist. It's not that skincare does nothing, but skincare won't do enough. And because that type of acne can result in more serious and permanent scarring, not a post-acne mark where it used to be, but actual damage to the skin's support structure that causes an indentation or a pit in the skin. Sometimes those are called ice pick scars. There are cosmetic corrective procedures you can consider to improve the appearance of those marks in the skin. Kind of like when you get, like I have a scar over here. It's actually gotten more shallow over the years. Yay. Maybe because of my sunscreen use, I don't know. But it was from when I had chickenpox as a kid. And you'll often see some scars like that on other people's faces just kind of randomly. And I always wonder, like, is that a chickenpox scar or an acne scar? Acne scars tend to be more irregular and jagged looking, and chickenpox scars generally tend to be more oval or spherical in nature. But regardless, when you have that type of an indentation in the skin, there really aren't skincare products per se that can do anything to eliminate that. For sure not eliminate. Maybe look a little better in terms of preventing further damage from loss of firmness and sagging. Sunscreen, of course, but dermatologists and the cosmetic corrective procedures they can offer really can make a big difference. Again, not for everyone in terms of causing those marks to go away, but certainly improving their appearance in a way that skincare products simply can't. Okay, no one can hear me. All right. Ruby says, hi Bryan, how do you suggest treating keratosis pilaris? I've been struggling with that recently. So, keratosis pilaris, aka chicken skin, is characterized by raised red, sometimes flesh-colored bumps. They often appear on the upper arms. They can show up on the thighs, sometimes on the back, maybe on the chest, but upper arm area for sure. One of the things that we hear from Paula's Choice customers who have gotten some visible relief with a couple of our products that I'll mention in a moment, they often will come back and say, I can wear sleeveless tops again or a sleeveless dress, because it looks embarrassing. I mean, you've got beautiful, smooth, even-toned skin on your forearms, but then like from the elbows up, it looks red and rashy and bumpy as if you've got some sort of a, I don't want to say a disease, but essentially keratosis pilaris is a form of clogged pores. And we know from the research that one of the best ingredients to help unclog pores and visibly diminish bumps and refine skin surface texture and hydrate and calm and visibly reduce redness, say it with me, beta-hydroxy acid, BHA, also known as salicylic acid. And the product I use to control those bumps on my arms and in fact on my legs is our weightless body treatment with 2% BHA. It's a worldwide bestseller, especially over in our Asian countries where Paula's Choice is distributed, such as Taiwan. They love it. It is silky. It's light. It's not greasy. It's a great product for somebody who's like, but I don't like body lotion. You'll barely feel this on. It's more of a body. It's a treatment-oriented product because it specifically targets those hard clogged bumps and helps them to look and feel better. That would be my number one suggestion. Some people don't respond to BHA. They're just, for whatever reason. We also have an AHA, glycolic acid body lotion. That's our Resist Skin Revealing with 10% AHA. So you could try that. Go with the BHA first. Try the AHA next if the BHA does not work. Those would be my top two choices. If you have a very small area of bumps, doesn't describe most people with KP, but let's just say you just have a patch on one arm, then a product like our Resist BHA 9, which is kind of a serum, you could also try something like that and see how that works for you. And on the topic of body care, I'm remiss because I meant, my Kleenex is gone. I meant to mention this earlier, but have you guys tried this? Have you tried the new Daily Replenishing Body Cream? I am so thrilled with this product. It's a cream, it's kind of thick, but this is one of the new products that I had the privilege of working very closely with Paula and our product development team on, and it was a very cool experience, and we are exceptionally proud of this product. I know Paula talked about it. She went over the ingredients. It's got a ton of good stuff in it. We really endeavored. We're all fans of different body lotions and creams out there, and we really tried to take what we liked and didn't like about those products and create almost this really interesting hybrid of, so you're kind of getting the best of everything. And you know us, this is not just a run-of-the-mill body moisturizer that, smooths, softens, hydrates, gives you some emollients, get on with your day. This is like a body care powerhouse for your skin. And I had my, it's been in our bathroom, of course, and I had my husband try it. And we had been using this body moisturizer from Aveeno, their Skin Relief. It's a good one for winter. It's fragrance-free. It's got colloidal oatmeal, and dimethicone is an active ingredient because dimethicone is a skin protectant. And during the winter months here in Michigan, it worked fine. It didn't have the most elegant texture, but it did the job. And when this came in and he tried it, he came home from work last night and he's like, oh my gosh, that new body cream, I was touching my skin all day. Everyone at the office probably thought I was a freak. I didn't care. I just told them how soft my skin was because of your new body cream. And he's very texture sensitive and doesn't like a lotion or a cream that feels slick or greasy on skin. And he was really happy that a little bit went a long way and it kept his skin soft and moisturized all day. So if you have not tried this yet, please give it a go. It's amazing. Okay, let's get some more questions here. What's your opinion about silicones? I know that Paula Choice uses them in their products. What role do they play? This is from Carolina. Carolina, I am a fan of silicones. I think that in many respects, they are the unsung heroes of countless cosmetic products. I understand there's some controversy around them in terms of, most of the controversy in terms of it's certain silicones that have some environmental concerns in terms of what happens when they get into the waterway, because certain silicones take longer to break down in the environment than others. But in terms of those silicones and how they affect skin, how they affect hair, are they a problem for skin? Do they suffocate skin? No. Do they clog pores? Inherently, no. From a physiologic perspective, from a chemistry perspective, silicones are porous. They don't block things. They almost form like a flexible mesh effect on skin that allows the free transfer of gases and whatnot. Although don't take that to mean skin breathes. Skin doesn't have little lung sacs attached to the pores. But what I'm getting at is that whereas I understand people saying ingredients like petrolatum and mineral oil feel occlusive and suffocate skin, because they are occlusive. They form a layer on skin surface that stops air from impacting the skin. That is actually the reason, and this isn't mentioned too much, but petrolatum and silicone, if you apply an occlusive enough layer of them, they're actually antioxidants because they protect your skin from the air, and air, 21% of the air we breathe is oxygen. There you go. So I think that a lot of the alternatives to silicone are interesting, and we're looking at using some of those in various permutations in our products. Obviously we want our products to appeal to as many people as possible, and for as many people as possible to have a great experience with the product, to not look at any of our products and say, oh yeah, but it's got that ingredient. Now, different story if it's an ingredient that you happen to be sensitive to. That's an individual thing. Doesn't necessarily make the ingredient bad. I'm allergic to cats. I don't think cats are bad. You want a cat for a pet? More power to you. I don't have cats for pets because I'm allergic to cats. Doesn't make cats bad. It's sort of the same way with silicones. There just isn't the research out there to show that they are a problem for skin. Not in the amounts that are used in cosmetics. Now, you can find research on pure concentrations of lots of ingredients. You can find research on pure concentrations of water. People drown in water. If you drink too much water, you're not going to be, you will not last. There is such a thing as drinking too much water and having that caused a bunch of, I'm going down a rabbit hole. But my point is, yes, Paula's Choice continues to use silicones in our products when and where appropriate. They do some amazing things for products. Some of the most aesthetically pleasing products you will find out there in all price ranges contain one or more silicones, or what's called a silicone polymer. So it's not necessarily a straight silicone oil like a cyclopentasiloxane, but it would be like a polydimethylsilsesquioxane. Say that 4 times fast. That is an example of a silicone polymer that can lend a beautifully silky feel, some nice body to a product that gives it that luxurious slip when you put it over the skin. Actually, off the top of my head, because it's right here, we did use dimethicone, a small amount of dimethicone in our new body cream, but it's joined by some different plant oils, particularly the safflower oil, and some fatty alcohols, which are emollient. They're not the drying kind. So yeah, dimethicone is probably one of the most well-known and safe silicones. That is the silicone that they will often use in burn centers around the world to actually treat severely compromised skin. Maya says, hi Bryan, how long after the 12-month expiry date can a product still be used? I'm wondering if you're referring to like a product that actually has an official stamped expiration date on it, like a sunscreen. I wouldn't use that much beyond that expiration date. Chances are, especially if you've had it for a while, it's past its prime. If you are referring to the period after opening, which is that open jar with a little like 12M inside of it, that there still are no unified agreed upon standards for how to apply that time period. It's still random for companies to decide. So I could take a moisturizer formula like our body cream and like that has the 12M period after opening on it. But this is packaged in an opaque tube, multi-barrier, protects from air, protects from light. And if you're not, let me back up a bit. If you're using a product like this body cream every day, you're going to use it up within a few months. So don't even worry about the whole 12-month thing. But let's say a product like this is only something you like using or need to use in the winter months when your skin is drier. So for 3 or 4 months, you're putting this on and maybe you've got about half of it left and you're wondering, well, do I save this until next winter or until, 6-8 months down the road when it gets colder again? Because then it's going to be 12 months. And you know what? Chances are it'll be fine. As long as you're not storing it in a part of your house that's subject to big temperature swings. If your bathroom is small and often goes from hot and steamy to cold, don't keep it in the bathroom. Put it in a linen closet, put it in your bedroom closet, and do that for any product that really shouldn't be exposed to such temperature extremes that you're not using on a regular basis. But I would honestly take that with a grain of salt. It's a guideline that we need to put on more so for the European market because our products are distributed throughout the European Union and other countries over there. And really look for more of those physical changes to a product to indicate whether or not it's past its prime. Does it smell different? Does it smell bad? It never used to smell like anything. Is the product separating? Does the product have a texture change? Whereas it used to be smooth and creamy, now it kind of comes out and starting to look a bit like cottage cheese or a little lumpy. Signs like that. Is the packaging changing? Have you noticed, like, is the material breaking down? Are you seeing any sort of like bubbles or cracks in the packaging? All of those visual and olfactory indicators are a sign that the product is past its prime and that you shouldn't keep using it. Okay. Kristen says, hi Bryan, do you know if PC would ever make another tinted moisturizer, BB cream, sheer foundation with SPF? I do know, but I'm not saying anything. Take that however you want. Amy says, Gingham, yes! Glad I'm able to watch today. Gingham, yep. I'm dressed, it's springy. You know, we're having warm, sunny weather here, and I'm really starting to get optimistic that winter is done. I mean, officially it's spring, but it's Michigan. Amy, thank you for the thumbs up there. Please, Brian. Margaret says, please, Brian, will you address blackheads on the lip line? I do love your products. Oh, thank you for that. Blackheads along the lip line. Wow, I haven't heard that in a long time, Margaret. That's a tricky place to have them. The thing is that the treatment for them wouldn't be, or what to use to help minimize them wouldn't be any different from blackheads on your nose, although don't use a pore strip right on your lip. Ouch. In fact, pore strips don't really work all that well for blackheads at all, but the temptation is there, I know, because there is that ick factor. I would suggest trying one of our liquid BHA exfoliants, the Skin Perfecting 2% BHA liquid, one of our clear anti-redness exfoliating solutions. There's a regular and an extra strength. Why I'm suggesting that is how I'd like to see you apply it. And because those are liquids, what you can do, I'm going to use this lotion as an example. So pretend this is your bottle and you've got, it's liquid. You take a cotton swab and hold it to the orifice, hold it to the tip. Hopefully you can see that. I'm not able to see myself like live in the moment, and lightly dampen the tip of a cotton swab and then dot it along the area where you have the blackheads. I'm assuming they're kind of like right up at the edge of the lip, which is called the vermilion border. If you notice any signs of irritation, stop, rinse it off. That can be a sensitive area, and I don't want you sensitizing your skin. What you can also try doing ahead of time, before you put the BHA on, is to carefully apply a layer of lip balm, or even something like plain Aquaphor ointment to your lips to help protect your lips from the BHA. I don't necessarily think, these are gentle products, but an ingredient like BHA technically is not meant to be applied to the lips, not for that purpose. So taking steps to create that barrier will help. If you get a little bit outside of your lip line of the balm, don't panic. The BHA will still be able to get through and help the blackheads. I'm talking about getting through a little bit, don't slather the edge of your lip in the balm, because then it will have a hard time getting through. That's the objective on the lips. You kind of layer it heavily on the lips themselves, right up to the edge, and then you take that cotton swab and put the BHA on. You may have to do that for several nights in a row before you start seeing results. You might start seeing results right away, but it's not, blackheads take consistency. It's not a one and done thing. The other thing to look at is whether or not you are using really emollient or oily lipsticks or lip glosses, or even a lip balm on a regular basis that might have some pore clogging ingredients in it, such as waxes or certain plant oils that have a smaller size and can kind of get stuck in the pores more easily. Ironically, I know it doesn't necessarily feel the best, but if you determine that maybe your lip balm or your lip gloss is to blame, try switching to plain petroleum jelly as a lip balm. It's going to give you the gloss, it's going to give you the emolliency, help prevent the chapping. I'm not talking right. But it won't clog pores. It can't get inside the pores and contribute to those blackheads. So hopefully those tips help. Come back after a while. We'll keep doing these chats. I want to know how that worked, or if it didn't work, we'll try to come up with something else. ISA L. I was using the line minimizer from Paula's Choice, but I think it's been discontinued. What is the closest replacement? I would prefer something without retinol since I'm using tretinoin. We haven't discontinued the line minimizer. I can take a quick peek just to make doubly sure, but last I knew, it was still available on our US site. Yep, Resist Skin Firming Line Minimizer. It is on last chance. It has been discontinued if it's marked as last chance, but you can still buy it. It's currently 25% off. There you go. Perry Taylor says, what are your thoughts on the Ordinary's 30% in silicone? I think you're referring to their 30% vitamin C in silicone. And I think that's the one that uses the multiple forms of vitamin C, or they're using like tetrahexyl ascorbate with ascorbic acid. Either way, it's good. It's a good product. If you just want vitamin C in a higher strength, it's kind of what we did with our C25 product, the Resist Anti-Aging Spot Treatment. it's a good product. I find it interesting that The Ordinary kind of tends to cherry pick what products have silicone and what don't, because there's, at least last time I checked their site and dove a bit deeper, they weren't necessarily keen on silicones. They're kind of one of those brands that tends to poo-poo silicones, but then they go ahead and use them. So which is it? But maybe they've changed course on that. I don't know. I'm not trying to throw anyone under the bus. I don't have the latest info. I'm just saying. Amy, thank you for the compliment. Can the new ceramide products be used bare eyes? Is there much retinol in it? I'm assuming you mean around the eyes, and if you're referring to our new clinical ceramide enriched facial moisturizer, which has quickly become one of my favorite products from us. That does some pretty remarkable thing for skin. And you guys, I know I've told you this before, I alternate between our products. I have several that I like. So yes, it can be used around the eyes. We are going to be coming out in the not too distant future with an eye cream counterpart to that moisturizer. Just so you guys know, it's going to have a different, richer texture. It will feel different than our Resist Anti-Aging Eye Cream, and of course, the gel. So you can look forward to that. In terms of the amount of retinol in that moisturizer, there is, what are we using that one? There's definitely more than what I would consider the usual amount. And by usual, I still mean effective. But it's not like up to 1%. It's not that high. So if you're using, we wanted, for the clinical ceramide enriched firming moisturizer, we wanted customers who may use the 1% retinol booster or the clinical 1% retinol treatment to be able to combine those products and not feel like they were getting too much retinol. So I think we struck a good balance. Some nights I will combine, I'll put the retinol booster on, which is 1%, a thin layer of that, and then I'll put the hyaluronic acid booster on because I just love that product. I kind of like bathe in it. And then I'll put the clinical ceramide enriched firming moisturizer on top. And I would consider myself somebody whose skin will act up if I overdo the retinol, and it hasn't acted up doing that. But again, this is maybe like a 2 or 3 nights a week type thing. I don't do that nightly. Some people, I'm sure, can be totally fine with that. Christian, any recommendations to deal with dark, thick facial hair? I'm assuming you're not asking for your brother or your dad or a male friend. So facial hair, thick and dark facial hair, I mean, I'm sure you're aware of all the basic methods of hair removal, everything from using a depilatory to actually shaving, laser hair removal. There's a bunch of different options to explore, and you need to kind of figure out which one is best for you. I don't have a certain device or a method of hair removal that I would turn to my sister or female friend, and if they had that same problem, and say, "Oh, this is what you need." It varies. For certain, though, if you are looking for a long-term solution and it isn't the cheapest option, laser hair removal, if you are a candidate for that, some people aren't, is by far the best approach. That can actually, what happens in that treatment is that the laser actually causes a series of permanent damage to the follicles, and it's a controlled damage. It's not going to leave you, when it's done properly, it's not going to damage your skin long term. But what happens is that follicle starts becoming more and more inhospitable to hair growth, which is why you need several treatments over a period of time. The other issue behind that, and this is really true for any type of semi-permanent to permanent hair removal, is that the hair we see growing anywhere on our body, wherever, the different hairs are often in different stages of growth. There's 3 different stages of growth, anagen, telogen, and I'm blanking on the other one. But there's a period where the hair is growing. There's a period where the hair that just grew takes a break, takes a rest, and then there's a period where that hair sheds and the circle of hair life starts all over again. And that happens at different, like the hair on my arm or the hair on my head is in all of those different stages of growth. And that's why like you don't see all of your hair fall out at once and you're going around looking like a plucked chicken for a month until it starts growing back. It's all calibrated inside the body. But that is why laser hair removal isn't a 2 or 3 times and you're done forever type thing. You have to keep going after those hairs that are going to be coming back. So the fastest solution and probably the least expensive would either be using depilatories, and there are facial depilatories that chemically dissolve the hair right at the root. Those can, of course, be irritating. And then there's facial waxing, I'm sure you're aware of. There's spas or salons that do that. Not the most comfortable thing in the world, but again, to get rid of all of that at once for a short period of time, those are all options to consider. I wish I had an easy breezy, inexpensive, one-shot deal solution for you, but it just isn't that simple. Jennifer says, "Hi, darling. I'm new to Paula's Choice Fabulous products. Is it okay to alternate nights between the 1% retinol and the ceramide moisturizer? Also, same goes for alternating between BHA and AHA. Yes, yes, yes. I pretty much already covered that in the previous question, so obviously I'm getting to yours a bit late. But yes, that is exactly what I do. I have my series of Paula's Choice products that I like and that I know work for my skin. But because it doesn't make sense for me to apply 3 exfoliants at night and 4 moisturizers, I alternate nights. I kind of like, I have them in my little drawer and I cocktail what I need on that particular night. And sometimes it's just not about what I need. It's about, well, I haven't used the Intensive Wrinkle Repair Retinol Serum for a while. So tonight I'm going to use that with C15 Booster, and then I always apply our Resist Anti-Aging Eye Cream. So I kind of have like that one, and of course I use the same cleanser morning and night and the same toner. So I have my core, my staple products that, you can pry out of my cold dead hands. And then I have my alternate products in each category that I will or won't use depending on, how much time I have, what my skin is looking like. Lately I've been really liking the Radiance Renewal Mask. I'll use that a couple times a week and just like slather that on at night. Really nice cream gel texture, and it also ramps up, gives your skin even more niacinamide, along with some brightening ingredients. So yeah, that's exactly what I do. All right, let me take some questions from some new people. Rafaela says, "Hi Brian, what do you think about the at-home microdermabrasion systems like the one from Neutrogena?" I am not a fan of those. They tend to come and go. There was a company a few years ago that made a system that actually had like these different it was battery powered, and it had these rotating heads, and we tried it, and even the gentlest one, the one they say to start with if you've never done this before, it was like sandpapering my skin. I did it in a small area, following the directions, using gentle pressure. I have never seen my skin get so red so fast. I felt like I was on the verge of really hurting myself. Not saying there may not have been some user error there. It was a while ago, but I do remember reading for stuff like that, I won't read the instruction manual for a new piece of electronic equipment if I can help it. But when it comes to devices that are going to affect how I look, oh yeah, I read it. So I'm not a fan. I think it's just way too easy to overdo it. I would rather see you use a very gentle scrub product if you want that extra bit of cleansing and polishing, or if you're using microdermabrasion for rough texture, uneven skin tone, clogged pores, a leave-on BHA or AHA exfoliant is going to be far more beneficial for your skin for all of those concerns and more, and less expensive, and significantly less likely, little bitty little chance of irritating your skin. So that would be my recommendation. Let's see. Dortz says, "Hi, Brandon. I know you can talk very little about new products, but can you talk about new formulations of existing products and what factors PC takes into account when considering reformulating?" We do have some products in various stages of reformulation. Because none of them are finalized yet, I can't say which ones. But in terms of what we look at for an existing product that we've decided to reformulate, there are several things, but you know what honestly it really starts with is your feedback. We always take a look at what you are telling us about the products. What do you like about it? What do you not like? What would you like to see improved? Is it something about the packaging? I'm not 100% sure when it's launching, but as we roll out our new packaging, we are debuting the Resist BHA 9 in a completely different style of packaging, because so many of you have told us you don't like the little pump. You find it too hard to squeeze out just a tiny amount of product. Some people love that packaging and think it works fabulously, but enough of you did not like it that we're like, okay, we don't need a house to fall on us. We are changing it. We're also changing the packaging for the hyaluronic acid booster. It will not be in a dropper anymore. It's going in a pump bottle, like the Resist 1% retinol booster. So your feedback is really where we start. And then second to that, we look at the existing formula. And, it's interesting. In some cases, when we revisit an older formula, we look at it and think, wow, we were actually kind of ahead of the curve here. This is, by today's standards, looking at products in the same category that are new to the market, this is still pretty dang good. I mean, we kept up. We were ahead of the game in a sense, and that's always gratifying to know. But sometimes the second part is new research. What is available? What has come out since then that could either replace a group of ingredients or a single ingredient in the product, or what would work with the core ingredients we want to keep and add to the effectiveness of the product, or provide another benefit that maybe the existing product isn't providing enough of, or never really provided at all. And we were thinking, okay, well, let's add that benefit in. Those are probably the two big areas. Next one in line would be packaging, in terms of not only just how it looks, but how it performs. But again, that also goes back to point number one, which is what you're telling us. What is your experience with the packaging? All of us at the Seattle office could love how a certain product is packaged, but when it's out there in the world, all over the world, because we're distributed worldwide, and that's incredibly great, wonderful. What are all of those women and more men telling us about their experience with the product? And it all matters. I wish we could make everybody equally happy, but that just isn't possible pretty much with anything in life. So we try to please as many people as we can. We try to hold true to what the research has shown is possible and isn't. We're never going to tell you our products do something that they can't. There always has to be research behind all of the claims, all of the benefits. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. Marlo says, both you and Paula have been teasing new packaging. Will the entire line be updated? What can we expect to see our favorites in? When can we expect to see it? Yes, we have been teasing that. Yeah, it's going to start rolling out this year. I don't have the calendar in my head as far as like what's coming out first, other than I know you should see it first with the boosters, and then it'll start rolling out to the other collections. This new body cream, I'm so glad I had this as a prop today, and my hands are soft. This new body cream, though, is an example of our new look. A cleaner font, softer colors, more aesthetically pleasing feel to the packaging. I think our creative team has done a very nice job giving the line a fresh, more modern, and honestly, in many ways, more skincare look. Until we had a fully formed creative team working in tandem with other key players at Paula's Choice Seattle, Paula and I and the product development team, by and large, were far more concerned with what is in the packaging and that the packaging works for the product in terms of stability than how it looks. That was always kind of like, well, let's just get something that works and protects the ingredients. And yeah, it may not be the prettiest thing on the shelf, but it's what's inside that counts. So I admit to being stubborn about kind of developing that. I had a slow learning curve about how much packaging really means to people in terms of products like that you use every day. And I don't really have any excuses for it other than saying I was very much nose in the books, face on the screen. trying to come up with the best possible formulas for what goes inside those products. But now we have both, and I'm really hoping that all of you will like it. And another thing I think that you will find with the packaging is that the way it's visually laid out, I think it'll be much easier when you're using routines, whether you're using like a single routine, like everything's from Resist for normal to dry skin, or you're kind of customizing and some's Resist, some's clear, some skin balancing or whatever. You'll be able to tell at a glance what's what. You won't be doing this every time you go through your routine. You'll know by color or by bottle shape exactly what step is what, which I think will help a lot. Dorch says the reformulated Skin Perfecting 2% BHA lotion is a massive improvement. Yes, it is. And that, I don't know why that was such a bear to get right. But what we ended up doing was when we created the 1% BHA lotion that is now in our Calm line, because that was reformulated, we had such success with that we used that base to jump into the 2% BHA lotion for our reformulation, and we worked on making that 2% lotion formula a bit more emollient and more suitable for dry skin. But you know, the BHA exfoliants, and I know we're really the only brand in the world that I'm aware of that has so many of them, and most brands have none. There are, a few do. Philosophy still sells theirs, and Proactive has one and whatnot. But in terms of multiples for different skin types and texture preferences, we're it, as far as I know. If you know of another brand that offers as many, hit us up. I'd love to explore it. And The Ordinary has theirs too, but still, one or two of them. Salicylic acid is not an easy ingredient to formulate with when the goal is to keep that ingredient in the pH range that's required to exfoliate skin. That's why we see there are BHA exfoliants out there where the pH is far outside, maybe not far, but far enough outside the range that don't really expect much in terms of the exfoliating benefit. And yeah, we could have done that very easily and come out with a bunch of BHAs, but it has to work. It has to showcase the best of what the ingredient can really do. And that's not always easy with salicylic acid. So all of that is to say, I'm very, very proud of our BHA exfoliants. I think they are a cornerstone of the line. For certain, they are what has gotten us known. How many of you started with the Skin Perfecting 2% BHA liquid and saw a massive transformation in your skin, and now you're using other products from us and hopefully seeing even better results? But yeah, that's it. Let's see, we've got about 10-ish minutes left. I can go a little over. Xian Yao Li, and if I did not pronounce your name right, I apologize. I've been using alpha 14% AHA. I'm wondering if that's the alpha hydrox. Got bad reaction, tiny pimples all over face overnight, and started flaking 1 week. My skin type is combo. Should I avoid AHA or lower potency? Okay. You should possibly avoid AHA. The tiny pimples all over your face overnight, I would not describe that. I wouldn't call that acne. What that probably is what a dermatologist would categorize or call an irritant contact dermatitis. When something like that happens so fast, an actual pimples as an acne, they can seem to pop up all at once, but what's happening beneath the skin to bring those to the surface is a process that takes some time. So that's how you can tell. And typically people don't break out all at once all over their face unless they're having an irritant type response. So it might be the amount of AHA, it might be the AHA itself, or it could be the other ingredients in the AHA exfoliant. Maybe there was a sensitizing plant extract, maybe there was a stronger fragrance, an essential oil. It could be that type of a reaction. And those, one of the reasons why, if I get why a person may not want every single product in their skincare routine to be fragrance-free, but in the case of a leave-on AHA or BHA exfoliant, and especially when the concentration of that AHA is on the higher side, and 14 for a leave-on maybe 14 to 25% if you're talking rinse off, as in like an at-home peel. But if you're using a stronger AHA exfoliant and it's got 1 or 2 fragrant ingredients in there, and it's formulated, at the right pH range to exfoliate your skin, you're going to get a bit of surface disruption that will carry those irritating ingredients further into the skin where they can cause even greater damage. So very important. I don't know, again, if we're talking alpha hydrox, I'm pretty sure that they omit fragrance from their products. I haven't visited their line in a little bit, so they may have started sneaking it back in. Naughty, naughty. But that would be, I wouldn't say you can't use AHA at this point. I would try a lower potency and let your skin calm down for a while. And you could also look, of course, to salicylic acid. One of the benefits of salicylic acid or BHA over AHA is the natural calming properties, anti-redness properties that salicylic acid has that AHA does not. It's a push-pull. AHA has hydrating abilities that some would argue, because it's hygroscopic, water-loving. Some would argue that AHA is a better hydrator than BHA, and I would say they're right, but that doesn't. BHA is also hydrating. Okay. SN12 says, "Hi Brian, thanks for the Resist Milky Toner for dehydrated retinol. Got it, and it's helped a lot. Yay! And the renewal mask, but it stopped using. Again, like it as well. Toner was game changing though. Oh, that's just a comment. Okay, thank you. Thank you for getting back to me." The Landon Look says, "Hi Brian, is there any product in the Paula's Choice range in the UK other than 2% BHA that will help with open pores on the nose that have filament?" Oh, those fun little filaments, those sebaceous filaments. Yeah. The sebaceous filaments, just in case you don't know, are actually, I know that they can be bothersome for some people, particularly when you can see them sticking out of the pores because your pores are larger, but they are a natural part of the pore lining. So even when you take steps to try to, not to get too gross, but like pull those out, they come back in a matter of time because it's a natural, it's sort of like, it's not necessarily a good example. I can't think of a good example of something that would not be gross. So anyway, the point is they're a natural part of the pore lining, and so you will never get rid of them altogether. You can manage how they look at the surface by exfoliating and helping to keep those pores clear. UK, do we not sell? Are we not selling our pore refining treatment 4% BHA there? Or the retexturizing? It could be that we're not. You've got the 2% BHA that you're using. You could try the charcoal gel mask for some additional absorbency and drawing. Maybe apply that. Wash your face at night. Do your normal skincare routine, but stop before the exfoliant step. And apply a thick layer of that charcoal gel mask to your nose. Leave it on for 15-20 minutes. Gently remove it with a warm face cloth. Don't do that. Just kind of gently remove it, and then you can rinse off any excess. Then put on your BHA, and that combination might make a difference. But if I wish I knew off the top of my head if I'm thinking we aren't selling the 4% in the UK. You can order it from the US. But yeah, try that mask BHA combination and see if that helps. Isabird says, when used for cleansing the skin, is a microfiber cloth really more effective than a regular face cloth? I haven't seen comparative research. I don't even know if any has been done that looks at the difference between the two. However, I'll give you my story. I started using microfiber cloths to clean around the house, like when I'm washing windows or Windexing mirrors. And I have found that compared to a regular cleansing cloth, which for all intents and purposes, what I was using were old washcloths. You know, when they start getting not so soft anymore for your face, but they're still good and you don't want to toss them out, use them for cleaning. I have found that the microfiber cloths, because of their weave and the texture, they are much more effective for those types of cleaning jobs. So I would have to imagine that if you're using a microfiber cloth on your face, that would do a more thorough job of removing excess oil, dirt, makeup than a standard washcloth. But I don't have the research, or I don't even know if the research has been done to back that up. So this is just my supposition based on cleaning habits around the house. So take that for what it's worth. You can always A/B test, at home and see if you notice if there's a visible difference or if it's kind of a wash, no pun intended, and then just use whichever is comfortable. If the microfiber cloth feels more abrasive or rough on your skin, go back to the washcloth because gentleness trumps getting that extra clean feeling every time. So, okay, I'll stop there. Let's see. Let's take a question from Diana 8, Magazino. Oh, she's supporting she says, I can say for my KP, the weightless body treatment with 2% BHA, as Bryan just said, has worked wonders. I can see and feel a huge difference on my arms. Excellent. Paulista Schultz says, Dear Bryan, 1 million thanks from Germany. Since 2011, I'm your most loyal customer. When are you visiting Hamburg at your tour? Best regards. When are we visiting Hamburg? We are going to be in Hamburg. That is our third stop. We're going to be in Sweden. Hamburg is like right around like May 15th, 16th, 17th, right around there. Sorry about the dogs barking. UPS is here. But we're almost done. So yeah, we will be back in Hamburg, and then we go on to London, and then the Amsterdam. So that is going to be a busy, busy month. Okay, Joseph says, Hi Bryan, what's your take on long-term results of actives? I noticed that research focused on the results immediately after a period. Do the results eventually completely dissipate after its continuation? That is a really interesting question, Joseph, and something that I've wondered myself, because you're absolutely right. A lot of the research on skincare bioactive ingredients like retinol, peptides, hyaluronic acid, exfoliants, it doesn't, the studies tend to be shorter in duration. Sometimes 6 weeks, sometimes 12, maybe every now and then as long as 6 months. So what we look at in situations like that is the mechanism of action and how those ingredients work, and then whether or not skin can adapt to those. If this, in other words, exfoliants are a good example, because a lot of people will say they start using an AHA, BHA exfoliant, first time ever. It's a well-formulated product, and they get amazing results. I mean, just what a difference. And they keep using it, and for the first few months, their skin just keeps getting better and better. And then it just kind of stops. It sort of plateaus. And they think that, well, okay, it stopped working. It's done as much as it can do. And then I need to move on to something else or try something stronger. What's really happened is that it has plateaued in the sense that it has gotten your skin to this maintenance phase where it's smooth, hydrated, even toned. You're not seeing the clogged pores and bumps and whatnot that you used to, or you're seeing them to a much lesser degree. But if you stop using that product altogether, your skin will eventually start reverting back to the way it was before. Maybe not like full on, because hopefully you've taken other good skincare steps like protecting your skin from sun damage every day, which is incredibly important. But that's why. It's like you get the first few weeks to months of using that type of product, you will see more dramatic results if you haven't used such a product in the past, because there's a lot of work for them to do, and they go about their job diligently. But then there comes a point where they're like, okay, we've gotten the cobwebs out of the attic, so to speak. Now we're just going to keep everything nice and clean and working, and so yeah, you're not seeing the same dramatic results, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to step it up or switch to a stronger product. There are situations where that may be warranted, particularly if you have more advanced signs of sun damage and you're kind of like acclimating. You start with this strength, move up to this strength, or you alternate. But for the most part, yeah. And in terms of the studies, Joseph, we always The other thing that we look at in terms, when there are studies where there's not necessarily a lot of long-term results to go on, we also look at how many well-designed or double-blind or comparative studies have been done. And for example, like there's been a ton of research about retinol. The research about what retinol can do for skin is not open to debate. It works in various ways, and obviously it's not going to work exactly the same for everybody, but there's enough research showing how and why and how much is needed for it to work that we can pretty much rest our laurels on retinol being a great anti-aging ingredient. Even though there aren't a ton of long-term studies on retinol, there are enough short-term studies that came to the same conclusions. And again, these are well-designed studies that we feel comfortable saying that, yes, long-term use of retinol is going to keep giving you these results. But again, just like with the exfoliants, when you first start using that retinol product, you will see more dramatic results. And then you get to a point where the retinol is working to maintain what it created, because it can only do so much. I mean, these are skincare ingredients. But if you stop using it, your skin is going to start going back to the way it was before. All right, we're a little bit past the hour. I'm going to take one more question. You guys have so much questions today. This is, thank you. I could stay on with you all night. Tatiana, I wish I had extremely sensitive skin. Oh, this is interesting. Tatiana says, I have extremely sensitive skin with rosacea, 56 years old, bought Calm Redness Relief 1% BHA exfoliant and Resist Barrier Repair Moisturizer with retinol, and I'm afraid to use them. Had a bad turn in my condition, which is getting better slowly. Should I start using these products or should I return them? The exfoliant, some people with rosacea respond well to a BHA exfoliant and some don't. The frustrating aspect of rosacea, as you're probably already finding out, is that there's often no rhyme or reason to what will set your skin off, and it's different for everyone. There's some common denominators like, cold weather, cooking over a hot stove, drinking red wine, that can set off a rosacea flare-up. But when it comes to skincare, even if you're using super gentle, fragrance-free, ultra-mild formulas, there could be something completely benign in there that in your instance just stirs things up. And I know that's frustrating to hear. But there is research showing that both salicylic acid and retinol, for that matter, can have value even if you're struggling with the visible signs of rosacea. And both of those products that you mentioned are just packed with soothing ingredients. I think that you could also look at adding the Calm Redness Relief Serum to your routine. That is very, very soothing. You also might want to look at one of the Calm Redness Relief moisturizers to use. You could perhaps alternate that with the Resist Barrier Repair. My suggestion for if you want to try both, and if you have a problem with either of their products, for whatever reason, even if you just don't like how they feel, yes, please return them. We don't want you keeping something of ours that you don't like or that you feel doesn't work for you. That is not truth and beauty. That's not money well spent. My suggestion, if you are willing to give these a try, is to apply them to a small area, like your lower cheek area, do what's called a patch test, and wash your face with a gentle cleanser or just rinse it with water, pat dry. Put the products on. You can do them separately, or you can put the exfoliant on, then the moisturizer on top of it. Maybe the area about the size of a coin, and leave it undisturbed and see how your skin does. If you notice any signs of trouble, whether it's right away or the next day, don't do it again. That's a sign that your skin isn't going to tolerate those formulas. And like I said, you can return them to us. We'll help you figure out something else to do, and go from there. So. All right, guys, again, thank you so much for all of these questions. We do have another live chat scheduled for a week from today, so that would be March 29th. Same bat time, same YouTube channel. I will be back, perhaps in more gingham, we'll see. But thank you again for joining me and for your enthusiasm for Paula's Choice, for the information. I really hope that you're getting something good out of these chats, and that I didn't go down too many rabbit holes today. So we'll see you next week.